First of all, you want to know your router's IP address and your computer's local IP address. So you want to open up a Windows command prompt, do that by doing a Windows search, typing CMD and hitting enter. And then you want to type ipconfig and then hit enter. This will give you some networking info. So look for your IPv4 address, it's right here. That is your computer's local IP address. In my case, it's 192.168.0.123. It will be different for everyone, don't worry, just use yours. And your router's IP address is the default gateway, 192.168.0.1. Again, yours may be different, just use yours. So now you want to open up a web browser and go to the router's IP address. Type the router's IP address into the search bar, 192.168.0.1, hit enter. Now you're going to need to know your router's login info. If you have another techie guy in the house, he might have changed the login info, so you may have to go ask him for it. Otherwise, it'll be the default info. You can go look at your physical router, and on the bottom or on the side, on the top, whatever, somewhere around it might be the login info, so it'll give you a username and a password. You just type those in right here, and then you can log in. Or maybe your router doesn't have the info on it. In that case, you'll have to look up the make and the model, which will be on the router. It might be a Cisco router, a Linksys router, whatever it is. And then you'll have to go online to look up the login info for that router. I've linked a few places to do that in the description. Once you've looked up your login info, just log in. Now here's where you're going to have to do a little searching yourself. You're going to need to find where it says port forwarding. It might be under network settings, wireless settings, whatever, but it's called port forwarding. In my case, it's under basic, and then under port forwarding right here. But it's different for everyone depending on your router. Once you're at the port forwarding page, you're going to need to add a rule. Again, this will be different for everyone, so it might be something a little different, but you're going to need to add. So I'm going to click add rule. The common application you could probably just leave default. It's probably not what you want. The application name needs to be unique from all the other application names. Be descriptive with the name so you know what it is later. You may need to know what protocol the port is using. It might be UDP or TCP, those are the common ones. If you don't know, you could just let both go through and use TCP/UDP. For most people, you're only going to have one port and private and public won't matter, so just make all 4 of these boxes the exact same. So let's say you're doing 25565, you're just going to do that for all of them. Again, this is different for everyone. You might not have a range, you might not have private and public, but if you do, just enter the same port for all of them if you only want one port. And the last thing you'll need to enter is the local IP address of the computer that you're port forwarding to. The local IP address of the computer is how the router can talk to that specific computer, so it's going to allow ports to go through just to that computer. So again, from our command prompt, we know that it is 192.168.0.123, so just type that in. And then you would just hit apply. And that's it, that's how you port forward. After you port forward, you may want to verify that your ports are actually open to make sure you didn't screw up. I recommend going to PortForward.com and downloading their port checker. The link will be in the description. This is the port checker software. Don't be confused, you don't have to buy it, you can just go to trial and then hit OK. And then it'll give you network utilities. Click on port checker at the bottom, and now you can test your port by typing in right here and then selecting the protocol. So click check me, and it says the port is open. The port is not open. I'm also just going to give you guys a quick little guide on how to find the ports that you want to port forward. So if you want, you just go over to the left side, go to port list, and just look for the game you want. Let's say you're playing Call of Duty, scroll down to C. You want all the Call of Duty ports, it'll tell you this TCP and the UDP ports. And then you just port forward them all if you want that specific game open. Or you can go back to the top, go to the left side again, and look for their tutorials on how to port forward for each system. So let's say the Xbox 360 for example. Now you just select your router. Let's say you had a Cisco router and it was a Linksys Z1000. You just scroll down to the bottom and it'll show you the ports it needs open. And that's it, just use PortForward.com to help you find the ports you need.